You may love playing board games, and you may carry them around, travel with them, store them on their side, and then when you open the box, it is chaos. Today we are going to talk about how to turn this into a well-organized box so you'll want to open it and play it again. Hi guys, it's Gracie from Small Worlds Big Adventures, and today we're going to talk about organizing your board games. With having just completed Spooktober, we opened a lot of boxes that we hadn't opened in a while, and there was some chaos. And if you're someone who plays board games, you know that sometimes those boxes don't come with the organization that they probably should. And so here are some things we do at our home to make sure that our boxes can be flat, on its side, upside down, and still not come out a chaotic mess. The first thing I want to talk about is baggies. Now, you can use just like a sandwich bag, a snack bag. These are probably by far the most economical. You can get like 200 or 300 of these from the grocery store for like $2 to $3, especially if you go off-brand. If you hit the Dollar Tree, you can probably get fewer for cheaper. They come in a variety of sizes, so you can have the gallon zippies, the quarter zippies. This is a sandwich bag, but my favorite, especially for board games, are snack bags. And because you can get them in different like shapes. So oftentimes there's like a rectangular one, and they have little square ones, and they just have a good mix of different shapes and stuff so that like it makes sense for your tokens. Also with them being smaller, a lot of times that's all you need for the tokens. Now, by all means, a lot of games do come with their own baggies, but sometimes they don't come with enough to feel organized. They might just give you a bag for everything. And if you're like me, that is aggravating. Now, if you want to go a step above the little sandwich baggies, you can also go online, and maybe game stores will have them too, but I got ours off of Amazon, and get 600 of various sizes. So these are the sizes that we came with our set for $12. And these are a lot more like what tends to come in different boxes. And so one, it kind of matches better than the rest of it. I like the various sizes because sometimes you just need a teeny tiny bag, and sometimes you need a bigger bag, depending on what it is. The bigger bags I think work great for like dice and whatnot, or depending on character stuff, just putting all your character stuff together. Now, if you don't want baggies because you don't like baggies and whatnot, or you kind of want something that like you can pull out of the box and set to hold tokens, there are these little boxes you can get. I have the little 2x2 ones, but these are great for putting your tokens in. Again, it will slide around in the box without getting mixed up in all the other stuff. But what's kind of nice about these versus the baggies is you can just pull these out and open and just kind of pull from the box. And so then your game table is a little neater too. I find if I have my tokens and stuff in baggies, I tend to do the like open dump method, and then there's just little piles. You can get different sizes of these. These are the most expensive option. For these 2x2s, you can get 24 for $16. So, you know, it's not like breaking the bank, but you probably want to make a more like conscious decision about like what tokens you're using these for and what games, versus these like if you don't need little things to set out on the table, then those work just fine. So a lot of times with baggies, they can be used for cards, but I mostly use it for the little knickknacks, the tokens, the meeples, all those things, or to put like all player stuff together. For cards, I love to use this stuff. It's called Hugo's Amazing Tape. I'm sure there are other brands. But what this tape does is it sticks to only itself. So you can wrap this around your cards and it's not going to damage them, and it's going to keep them really nicely together. It does come in different widths. I ordered this one accidentally thinking it was the 1/2 inch, but this is 1 inch. Wider than maybe you need, but good to have still. But if you're just going to get one, I would go with this 1/2 inch. It is my preferred. And so you can see, you just wrap it around the cards. I can just slide it off. It is not as easy to slide on, but you can just unwrap it over and over again and put it down. The one thing I will say, you're supposed to kind of stretch it when you wrap it around. So keep that in mind. Like, if you're just loosely putting it on, it's going to feel like it falls off. Another thing I like to do with these is sometimes games like this one comes with more of like cardboard pieces or like map pieces. And a lot of games are so good about like making sure those have a proper place and that they won't slide around. But like in Grindhouse, you have these like character pieces. And so I like to use that to keep those together so they don't get mixed up. The Hugo's Amazing Tape is about $10. So again, not very expensive. You get 50 feet of it. We just recently had to replace our first roll, and we probably like used it in probably like 20 plus games. That's an estimate. But this will very much, how long this lasts will very much vary on like how many card stacks you use in a game, or how many cards the game just has in general. You know, some games they have 20 different card decks, and I am not somebody who's going to stack those all together, so I do separate them out. But yeah, so this is very good. I do want to highlight a few things that we just do in general. So one of the first things is, and you can see here, we have our little sandwich baggie, keeping all of a player's things together. There are a lot of games that you'll have like a player card, a outline of the different actions you can take, little figures or meeples, even sometimes dice. And so it's so much handier that as you're getting ready for a game to just like hand a bag to people and they can organize their stuff together. Love to do this. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. And I always try to be conscientious of like, is putting all this stuff together going to damage anything? My biggest concern is always the cards, whether or not like putting it all together will like bend the card or whatnot. But for the most part, it doesn't. A lot of times when I'm doing this, it is like multiple cards and then like a character or some dice. But here you can see I used a sandwich bag. I don't think this size bag would work. But yeah, so that's one of the things we do to keep our games organized. Another thing we do is we'll put our dice in bags. These are some of the biggest violators of like scooting around a box. Again, if a character has a set number of dice or a set color of dice, that will go in their player character bag. But if it's just like dice for the table, we like to put them in baggies. Another thing we do, if you are like us, you have tons of dice goblins. And so sometimes we'll even throw in extra dice. I'm sure we've all played a game where like you're expected to pass the dice, but it's kind of just handier to have your own. That's really easy to do if they're just 6-sided dice like these. There's no special symbols and whatnot. But if they are dice that have like special symbols and that is something you want to do, you can like go online and search for like replacement dice for that game. So that is another thing we do. Now, arguably the best thing you can do to keep your box organized, especially if the box already comes with some like good organization, if it has pop outs, and what I mean by that are it comes with these little cardboard bits and you like pop them out. A lot of times you're like, well, I don't need these anymore, and you'll throw them away. I don't know where Scott heard this, but he is the one who heard this. And what you should do is put them in the bottom of the box under the organization system, and then it's flush with how it came, and then there's going to be less room for pieces to move around. So there's a lot less gap space for things to slide up and down. Now, if we didn't do that, if we had thrown them away, as we have done with lots of boxes prior, you'll see now there's like, I don't know, like a 1/2 inch gap. So if we don't have the extra board in here from the little pop outs, and we like move it on its side or upside down and stuff like that, it's a lot more room for things to get disheveled. We already have our cards taped together and baggies and stuff. But you can see stuff is kind of already askew versus, oh, our dice popped up. If we put the cardboard tokens back in, put our stuff back in, putting it like this and this. It's a lot less stuff that has moved around because the gap between the lid and the stuff in here is a lot smaller. So it's easier to keep things in place. There is one more thing you can get for specific board games to keep them organized, and that's like an actual, like specific to the game organizer. We haven't gotten one, but we plan to get one soon, and we'll show you what that looks like. But companies make these custom laser cut wood or 3D printed things that like fill your box, give you a space for every card and token, and make it so that when your box opens, it's not going to be disheveled. The downside to those is they tend to run anywhere from 30, 50, 100, depending on the game. And so they're the most expensive option. When we do get one, we'll walk you through the process of what we think. Until then, enjoy these much cheaper versions of how you can organize your box. And until next time, we'll see you.